Today on Exploring Nevada, we focus on an exciting new project. Throughout Nevada, people are raising funds for a statue to be placed in Washington, D.C. A statue of Sarah Winnemucca, arguably the most influential Native American woman of the 19th century. During a troubled time in Nevada's history, when European immigrants arrived in droves and settled on Indian homelands, Sarah Winnemucca worked tirelessly to improve the living conditions of her Northern Paiute people. As a lecturer, writer, and educator, she helped shape the course of Nevada history. A leader of her people and a woman well ahead of her time, she was unanimously selected by the Nevada State Legislature to represent Nevada in Statuary Hall in the nation's capital. Her likeness will stand alongside other statues from all 50 states, including Nevada's former U.S. Senator, Pat McCarran. Now, the task is to raise $150,000 to carry out the project. A committee drawn from around the state will then select a sculptor, and the real work will begin. To help us better appreciate the legacy of Sarah Winnemucca, we turn to Dr. Sally Zanjani of Reno, whose recently published biography sheds fresh light on this extraordinary woman.
And Sally, thank you very much for taking the time to help us better appreciate Sarah Winnemucca. You wrote in the prologue of your recently published book on Sarah Winnemucca that she looms above the historical landscape of the Great Basin like Mount Everest. What is it that is so compelling about Sarah Winnemucca?
Sarah Winnemucca's achievements were really extraordinary. She was a spokeswoman for the Paiutes for many years. She served the U.S. Army as a scout during the Bannock War. She barnstormed the Northeast, lecturing more than 300 times on the plight of her people. She was an author who wrote the first book by an Indian woman, and she started a model school for Indian children. It's not a surprise that her father, Chief Winnemucca, said at the end of the Bannock War, "None of us are worthy of being chief but her."
A remarkable woman. It's too bad that there aren't very many photographs of her, but there are a few. We're fortunate there are a few. If we were to meet her, if we were to be around today, which photograph of her do you think best captures how you imagine she was?
The one I like best is, in fact, the one on the cover of my book. I think the expression here conveys Sarah's determination and her sorrow. Among the few photos we have, there are others that capture a moment. We see her as she appeared on stage in her red leggings, her fringed buckskin, when she captivated those audiences, but a photo just can't capture the electricity of a charismatic personality, such as Sarah was. Then there are the photos I wish we had, but we don't. I wish we had one of Sarah as a child. There is none. And I wish there had been a photographer around when Sarah was riding hell for leather in the Bannock War toward the Steens Mountain site where her father and his band were being held captive in the enemy camp. I wish, too, that we had a photo of Sarah teaching in the brush shelter that was her her original school. Perhaps particularly the moment when the boys jumped up and pushed up the roof of the brush shelter to show that they understood the word up, and everybody laughed.
Wonderful. I wish we had those pictures too, but you've drawn some pretty nice pictures with your words. She made a contribution in a lot of different areas. Would you elaborate on those?
Through her mastery of English, she interpreted and mediated between Paiutes and whites on many occasions. I've mentioned her famous ride during the Bannock War as really a close associate of General Howard, as well as his scout, and one that he sought advice from on many occasions. After the war, when a large number of the Paiutes were exiled to Yakima Reservation in Washington Territory and wanted desperately to come home, Sarah moved heaven and earth to get them there. She, when she was ejected from the reservation by Agent James Wilbur from a place nearby, counseled the Paiutes in what was really a campaign of passive resistance. And this was long before the days of Gandhi or Martin Luther King. She said to them, "Don't farm, don't build houses, don't do anything to indicate that you will accept staying at Yakima. and that is what she did. Also, she appealed to high officials, Secretary of the Interior Carl Schurz, President Rutherford B. Hayes, and eventually to Congress in Washington, D.C., to get permission for them to go home. And this was one of her main reasons for speaking in the East and also on the West Coast, to arouse public opinion on behalf of freedom for the Yakima exiles, as well as to reform the reservation system, where Indians were suffering under the cruel, tyrannical treatment of agents such as William Reinhardt and James Wilbur on reservations.
Let me ask you a question about how it was that she managed to do all these things, being Native American at a time when the white culture and the Native American culture did not get along, and also being a woman. How did she manage to do these incredible accomplishments?
Well, Sarah came from a family that had a tradition of leadership. Her grandfather, Truckee, who she loved and admired deeply, had pushed her along the path of acquiring white skills, of which her mastery of English was the most important one, and peace and friendship with the white newcomers, for newcomers they were to the Stone Age world in which Sarah was born. Also, she had supreme self-confidence. You can see this in her stage appearances. She'd stride on stage, she'd speak spontaneously, never twice the same, and she wasn't at all shy about doing it.
So she was willing to do what it took to make conditions better for her people. She was willing to go to Washington and speak to white audiences. She was willing to go on stage. She was willing to start a school.
Yes, yes. She wanted children to acquire what she saw as the necessary skill, speaking English, and then they'd be able to get along in the white world, as they never could if they didn't master the dominant language.
It must have been extremely hard at times for Sarah to be following the path that she'd carved out for herself, which was to try and have it be such that people could get along. In your research and all the research that you did you get a sense of how hard things were for her?
They were very hard sometimes. Not all Paiutes were willing to follow the rational path of acquiring practical skills that Sarah, her father, and her grandfather had chosen. That was hard for her. Also, as an Indian, she faced insults from many individuals in the white community, and these hurt her deeply. Sarah had a very touchy sense of pride, and she never forgot a cruel word, I don't believe. Also, she felt very deeply about the sufferings of the Yakima exiles. Here you were in a situation where so many had died that their bodies overflowed the graveyard, and Agent Wilbur had ordered them thrown in the Columbia River. Sarah really took their cause to her heart and moved heaven and earth to get them free.
And did she succeed?
Yes, she succeeded. She finally got the official permission for the Paiutes to leave Yakima and go home.
So that was quite an achievement.
Yes, and she always argued for the transformation of Fort McDermott in northern Nevada to an Indian reservation, and eventually that did happen. And I feel that more broadly, through her lectures and her book, she contributed to the turn in American public opinion toward justice for the Indian.
When the statue is eventually done and put in Washington, and people get to come by and see it, what is it that you hope people will feel and think about as they look at that statue?
Oh, well, I hope they will think about a remarkable life of a woman who walked out of a Stone Age world into the parlors of the intellectual elite and the halls of Congress. It was quite a journey.
Thank you very much for taking time to speak with us, and thank you on behalf of all Nevada and the country for writing such a wonderful book about this remarkable woman.
Other biographies you may want to read about Sarah Winnemucca are available at your local library or bookstore. And coming up next, we'll visit with a member of Sarah Winnemucca's family who will share recollections of her notable relative.
Well, this, of course, every state's entitled to 2 statues. It's important for Nevada to be fully represented in the Capitol. But what a wonderful statement this will be when we put in what may very well become the first Native American woman to be represented in the state capitol at Statuary Hall. We have a horse race going on with another state, but it's a good chance that we will have it if we can raise the funds. And she is really a remarkable woman who deserves to be represented and given this kind of national recognition.
Cleared and he
realized there was a rider and a saddle on his back, and he exploded. Only in Nevada.
And joining me now is Louise Tannheimer, a member of the Winnemucca family. Louise, thank you so much for taking the time to come down from Portola to speak with us today.
It was my pleasure.
You are a relative of Sarah Winnemucca's.
I am. I've known about Sarah since I was a small child. My mother was always telling us that we were part of the Winnemucca family.
And how was your mother related to Sarah?
She said that her mother was Sarah's sister.
Okay, so she was the niece.
Jenny Winnemucca was Sarah's sister.
And that would make you a grandniece to Sarah Winnemucca.
Mm-hmm.
But you were telling me earlier that you don't really follow all those distinctions.
My mother always referred to Sarah as her sister, but in the Indian culture, a sister, a cousin could be her sister. I have cousins down in Shores right now that call me that I'm their sister, and we understand that.
Sister, okay. And when Sarah was young and your mother was young, people might have been living in the kind of thing that we're in front of now, the
Right.
wickiup that would have been found on the
It could be.
in the Indian country.
Right, either that or it could have been covered with rabbit skin.
As in some of these photographs
some of
that
these
you have
photos
here.
here.
Photographs
Right.
of your family members that will show your Winnemucca people.
Right,
So relatives of Sarah.
right. And
Well,
they're,
Louise, you said that when you were young, your mother would take you to various places that Sarah might have been
yes,
earlier.
Right. She would talk, and we went up to the railroad station in Winnemucca, and that's where my grandmother, Jenny, lived in that area. But she worked with for a Chinese laundry, and a number of Paiute women worked there because they did their laundry by washboard. And Sarah would come by when she was in town and never failed to stop and talk to these ladies. And they were always in awe of her and maybe just a little bit shy because this was Sarah. But Sarah wouldn't take a back seat to anyone, but she encouraged them in their efforts. And my mother idolized Sarah, and though she never saw her in person, it's only from what my grandmother told her.
So there were a lot of people who revered Sarah during her time.
At that time, oh yes.
She had, it sounds like, kind of a star status. She was
Oh,
going
she
back
did.
to Washington, and she was performing.
I think of her in that light. I could just see her on those stages in San Francisco, promoting the welfare of her people.
Louise, you've given a lot of thought to this relative of yours, Sarah Winnemucca. What, in your own mind, do you think was the essential thing that she was all about during her lifetime?
Education. She thought that with education, this would be the beginning of a new world for the Paiute people.
And to that end, she established schools, a school, an exemplary school. And you also, Louise, brought along a very special blanket today. And can you talk about that?
Well, Sarah also wanted to bring peace between the nations. And I brought along this blanket, which is a symbol of it has a peace pipe here. And this, I think, Sarah would have enjoyed.
So the peace pipe was a central mission, that the
For
notion
for
of peace.
between between he and her dad, her father.
And she believed that,
Right.
to be able to get to that through education.
Absolutely.
Do you think it was hard for Sarah at that time with the mission that she had for herself?
I think it was terribly difficult due to the fact that women just didn't expose themselves in that way back in those days.
And yet she went out and did that.
Where this came from, I do not know.
Did she pass that spirit along to your
yes,
family?
Oh, yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Others of you feel that a kind of a calling to make things different?
Oh, I think we all did. I remember my older brother was chairman of the tribal council, and I was chairman of the tribal council for 2 years, the only one in Fort Yuma. And, you know, we just kind of did things. And then when I went to work for the state of California, I was a counselor there, employment counselor, and promoted the Native American.
So Sarah passed on the spirit that she had.
Oh, she did. Oh, she did.
For you, what is the most important thing about getting this statue back into Washington?
Well, Sarah, I believe, as did my mother, I know, when she talked, and from some of my Indian beliefs, must be put to rest. She's been wandering around the world, and now is a chance for her to be laid to rest in a place where she wanted to be, in Washington, D.C.
Where she could make a difference.
Where she could make a difference to her, as her people. I was going to say downtrodden, but that was years ago. No, of her people. We need to have someone shine up there.
And when people come through and they're looking at that statue, what is it that you hope is going through their souls and their hearts and their minds?
Well, if they could see and know about the history, they'd say, this lady was way before her time.
She was a leader in her time,
she was a leader.
and she was
oh,
before her
absolutely,
time.
Right, and outspoken.
Well, thank you very much. And the important thing now is to get that statue built, and coming up next, we'll be speaking with the people who are going to make it happen.
Sarah represented the Indian people, and what she represented was her strive that education would be continued, and the key to the Indian people's ways and their life is education. And our people are still fighting to this day for education, and we're getting it. And I'm just real thankful to be a part of the descendants of Sarah as a great-great-grandniece, and education is the key.
Gather around. Now, everyone, this is an exhibit of an Ice Age mammoth. Now, long ago in Nevada, these ancient elephants rummaged through springs and stream beds for food.
Imagine at one time, herds of these huge animals roamed in what might have been your own backyard. You'd be amazed.
And joining me now are Carrie Townley Porter and Marianne Convis. I understand that the Nevada Women's History Project, which you're representing, has the task of actually carrying this magnificent project out. Out of all the projects that the Women's History Project could have done, how is it that you decided on the Sarah Winnemucca project?
Many of our members had read Sarah's own autobiography, which is the first written by a Native Nevada woman. I'm sorry, Native American woman. And we've just been so impressed with this woman and her accomplishments. So we looked around to see how could she be further honored. She's had so many honors. And we realized that Nevada had never put its second statue back in Statuary Hall in Washington, D.C. So we thought, well, why can't we do that? This is an all-volunteer organization, but we do get things done. And so the first thing we did was to take a vote with our state committee to investigate this, see if we could do it. The second thing was that I called Assemblywoman Marcia de Braga in Fallon and explained what we wanted to do, and she was so excited. She jumped right on it. Marcia is a member also. But within a week, she had had her people contact Washington, D.C., find out what had to be done, and she had a bill drafted and in place for the legislature, which was months away.
So it sailed right through, got the approval of everyone, but of course there was no money attached, and so now it's fallen to the Women's History Project to raise this amount of money. What is that amount, Marianne?
They think it's around $150,000. And we looked at the numbers and said, well, if everybody in Nevada gave $1, that would be it, but we knew everybody in Nevada wasn't going to give $1. So we went with organizations and people. We hope this to be a people's project. We have received as little as $1 in the mail. Many people have written to us and said, what can I do? And we're moving in that direction. We have a trifold, which we put together. It has a biography of Sarah Winnemucca, a little bit about her, and on the back it has a blank where you can send us money.
And so you're getting a lot of support. You call it the People's Project because it's kind of a grassroots project.
Yes.
All kinds of people are jumping into it.
And we're just putting this brochure all over the state and out of the state as well.
Okay, so if people want to help with this worthy project, what do they do? Who do they contact?
For one thing, we can send out as many brochures as they want. So if they can put brochures out in public places, we'll be happy to send them brochures free of charge.
Okay, and your website?
Our website is www.nevadawomen.org.
Okay, great. And a phone number that they can reach you at?
Area code 775-786-2335. Those are the two divisions. We have a southern division with our organization.
Terrific. Okay, and when we know this project will be successful, the fundraising...
May I add something? It's an extremely important point that we like to tell everyone. Every cent that goes to this project goes directly to the statue. We have no administrative expenses involved in the donations. We are picking those up ourselves.
Well, when this statue is complete, because we know it will be, and it's there in Washington, D.C., and the school children and the various tourists are streaming by and looking at it, what is it that you hope, Marianne, what is it that you're hoping that they get from that statue?
That this woman can be a role model for children across the world, not just the United States. She had no mentor. She had no role model. She created everything that she did from her heart. And it's amazing for a woman who didn't even speak English to go and talk to the president. She talked to the Congress and tried to persuade them to give her tribe back their native lands.
So she was a remarkable woman that touches all of us, and you have something that was said about her.
During the time when we were pushing the bills through the legislature, and incidentally we had no negative votes on any of it, we're very proud of that, and the governor of course also signed it. The Girl Scouts throughout the state pitched in and wrote letters to the legislators, and there's one that stands out in particular that we felt we would like to share. It's from an 11-year-old Girl Scout in Winnemucca, and she closes her letter with, "We've dedicated a city and a mountain to her father, but we have nothing in remembrance of his daughter. Sometimes I walk out and look at Winnemucca Mountain. As the legend goes, you can see Sarah Winnemucca's face on its surface at sunset. I hope to see her face in Washington, D.C., on a statue in her honor. Thank you very much. Sincerely, Molly Latty."
Thank you. That kind of says it all.
Yeah.
If you want to donate to this worthy project, we'll put the information on the screen. And if you want to know more about the Nevada Women's History Project, which is a volunteer organization that anyone can join, men or women, the information is at your website.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Well, the fundraising effort is really going well. We have had support from all over Nevada for this project. In fact, we got a check from a teacher in Hawthorne from the Shores School, the native school. north of Hawthorne, and her students, her grade school students, had held a readathon and raised $27 for this Sarah Winnemucca project. So we are very excited that we're getting support from all over. And we're still looking for support, so we want everyone in Nevada to know about this project and have a chance to contribute.
I joined the Nevada Women's History Project hoping to do something that would have a lasting impact on Nevada. And the Nevada Women's History Project was started originally by Jean Ford, and I was one of the first members. And we've done a lot of fun and exciting things, but this is the most exciting that we've done because the statue in Washington is Nevada's chance to have a woman and a Native American woman represent the state of Nevada. And Sarah Winnemucca was one of our historical figures in Nevada, and the History Project is one of our goals is to make sure that women from every background, every ethnic group, every religious group is represented in the state as a part of our history.
Do you think Jean would be happy about this project?
I think Jean would be delighted. This is what she wanted for us. This is what she wanted for the History Project. So I know that somewhere up there, she's got a big grin on her face and she's saying, "Go, ladies."
The Nevada Women's History Project is working hard to raise funds for the statue, as at this recent gathering at the Governor's Mansion in Carson City. If you would like to help, please contact either the Nevada Women's History Project or the Nevada Department of Cultural Affairs. The Department of Cultural Affairs includes the Division of Museums and History, the State Office of Historic Preservation, the State Library and Archives, and the Nevada Arts Council. For more information, you may also visit us on the web at nevadaculture.org. And see you next time on Exploring Nevada.